Hello everyone, Zellerant here, and for today's video on Umamusume, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Uncap crystals that we got yesterday and how you should prioritize their use or not using them currently because they're going to have a lot of future value as well. And we'll kind of compare them to also using the selector ticket if you're still holding on to it by following my past advice. And now this is not going to be able to cover everybody's scenarios. Everybody's got different scenarios with their support cards. So I can't give like one-on-one advice to you specifically, but this should give you some ideas of how you should approach them. And if you actually had any questions on whether or not you should use anything, you can always join my Discord. I do have a channel specifically for like account reviews where you can kind of ask, and either me or one of the other people in the Discord like to kind of give advice on how you should utilize them. And so with that, we'll kind of just get into it. Now, just kind of a recap on a prior video when I talked about the selector voucher here. The big thing on this is this has less value than the crystal in the fact, or the Uncap crystal, because it's never going to have anything new added to it. So this is one where you're going to use this sooner than you're going to use the crystal, but there is a unique scenario, especially if you're kind of in my situation, which I don't think many people are because I have a lot of good MLBs already. But there is a card here that is very valuable at 0 limit break that you will not be able to get through a crystal because the uncap crystals only allow you to uncap cards you already have, while this ticket allows you to get a card that you don't have. And the only one in here that I can really say has some value at 0 limit break is going to be this one, Yukino Bijin. It's going to be very valuable in making a new track and later. It's not valuable right now in Unity Cup, which is why I'm not using this. I'm not using the selector yet. And that is because you really don't need anything above 0 limit break because it's just wit bonus, initial wit, and these things are a little bit higher. But the big reason you're wanting this card is the no stopping me that is on it, which is a very broken skill now for certain tracks that you really can't get anywhere else unless you have like Mayano Top Gun who has it built in. And it's going to be, there's only, like, I think the next card that's going to have it is quite a ways away. This one has value about 0 limit break. So if you don't have this one, that's one where I would hold on to this ticket. Now, if you did for some reason get a copy of it, well then good. Now this selector ticket has limited value to a certain extent where it's going to be more likely that you can use it right now. Alongside potentially those uncap crystals, you really need to kind of think about what the immediate value you're going to be getting out of it. And there's only a few cards that I can kind of say would be ones that you want to look at utilizing them on. Now, first, before you do that, though, if you do not have MLB Kita-san Black, this may be a situation where you don't use anything yet and you wait till the Kita-san Black support card banner because that's not that far off. And that is going to be one that you're going to pull on to try and MLB Kita-san Black. And you could very well get one of these cards that you're missing the cards on. And the last thing you want to happen is if you're in a situation like me. Now, this is not from using the Uncap crystal or anything. This is, I literally got 2 Super Creeks on the Rico banner back to back on 2 of the 3 10 pulls, which MLB'd it, and then I got an extra one that I'm gonna have to throw away for 10 cleats. But that is not what you do. Not want to use the crystal and then immediately pull one and then just have to throw it away for 10 cleats, which are not that valuable. This is why you want to kind of be very selective of how you use these, especially if you're going to be pulling on any of the support card banners in the future, which the big one is Kita-san Black. There's enough distance after Kita-san Black, I think, for a majority of people in their pulls, that if you already have MLB Kita-san Black, you may be able to make a decision right now, at least on the selector ticket. And so there are really only a few cards that I would really say you're going to get that value out of. That's going to be a Fine Motion, which, as you can see, I could MLB here, but I have a very good reason I'm not going to. And then we have Super Creek, if you have her, depending on what you have her on her limit breaks. And then you have Kita-san Black to an extent. But since Kita-san Black is going to be rerunning soon, man, I don't even know where she is on mine, man. I need to actually put these things on here so I can see them. But Kita-san Black, right here. Now, I've seen people talking about MLB and Kita-san Black immediately with it, and I think that is a bad idea. If you have like 2 limit break Kita-san Black, for example, one thing I've heard is, well, I can just use the selector and immediately get her to limit break 3 and get some immediate value out of her. Problem with that is, like I said, we have a rerun coming for her, and that's going to be like one of the few banners that's going to be a big big one to pull on for a while. And so I feel like that's going to be one to save up for to pull on it rather than using it. So I really think that it's going to be between Fine Motion, Super Creek, and potentially Nice Nature if you've had some luck on getting multiple limit breaks on her, whether you pulled on her banner or you're just getting them on Rico or something. And other than that, maybe you can say something like Biko Pegasus or a couple others here. And we're going to now take a look at Game Tora to kind of show the scenarios you might be in for utilizing them. All right, so we have a Game Tora up here. And so I want to kind of start with that selector ticket just to kind of give a recap on a previous video. The biggest thing with the selector ticket is if you don't have MLB Kita-Sun Black, you should be making your decision on using that card. So we're at Biko Pegasus right now. Most people are probably skipping her, very luxury for especially light spenders and free-to-plays. But the Kita-Sun Black banner. After you pull on this one, that's kind of the point where you can kind of make the decision on what to use it on, because another luxury, Nice Nature, will be coming up. And then we have the Machikane Fukutaro, which we'll get some free pulls on, which, hey, when you're pulling, you could always get lucky and get one of these other cards. But it's far enough away that I feel like you're not going to get that maximum value, because the longer you wait, the less value you're going to have in those cards as they slowly fade away off of meta over time. Except for the Yukino. Like, if you're in my situation, Yukino, I'm not going to need that card until Make a New Track, but I have that selector ticket specifically for her, unless something crazy happens and I get a copy of her before I need her on something else, which is unlikely to happen, but I might as well hold on to it. If not, you can finish here and then make your decision on that selector ticket. So that's pretty much it on that. Now I want to focus on the uncapped crystals, which is the main focus of this video. So the main thing I've heard people asking questions about is taking Limit Break 3 Fine Motion or Super Creek to Limit Break 4. So that's going to be the focus. For most other support cards, you'll have to kind of ask in the Discord, because there's a lot of different breakpoints and other cards where you can really get the value out of them. But they're very unique because a lot of the banners that they were on, think like something like Tamamo Cross or Nice Nature, or something, you're basically having to get lucky, because we're going to tell you to not pull on those banners, and you might have just got multiple copies from another one. So I'm not going to go over every single card, but this might help you when you kind of compare them, Game Tora, where you can kind of look what the differences are to kind of figure out if you'll get value. But these are the ones that are like the main ones that everybody says you should MLB. And I want to talk about 3 to 4, because I think this is the main breakpoint a lot of people are discussing about. They use their selector ticket to take it to 3, and then they're wondering if they use the uncapped crystal to take it to 4. Now for Super Creek, hers is got the, I think, the biggest increase, which is that friendship gauge going from 15 to 30, so you can get her quicker rainbows. Very, very nice there. You get a little bit more training effectiveness, a little bit more initial stamina. That's not the big deal there. The only other thing is the race bonus, and that is because Make a New Track. You want as high of race bonus as you can, because that's basically what's generating your stats overall. Same thing on the Fine Motion. Fine Motion actually doesn't have friendship gauge. There's really nothing else that's major. You get 15 more mood effect, 2 training effectiveness, same as that. A little bit more initial wit, and then 1 more wit recovery. So only thing you really, in my opinion, would put it for is that race bonus, which is why I am not using the uncapped crystal on Fine Motion. I'll kind of have to figure out my decision on that going to Make a New Track, and it'll only really be if I need to use my Fine Motion. I have more options for that. So we're actually going to talk a little bit about Make a New Track, which is, while you're thinking about making your cards usable for Unity Cup, I kind of just showed they're good at Limit Break 3 for Unity Cup, as you can see here. Race bonus is the next big breakpoint for going into needing a lot of race bonus. So the minimum is 15, or not 15, the minimum you want is 50, but you really want 60. And so all the main cards you're going to use are 10 or 15, and you use the 15s kind of to offset 5. So if you think about it, if you have 10, you can have 6 cards. If they're all 10, you'll get that 60%. Boom, you hit the threshold. But there's cards that you may want to use that have 5%. And the 2 big ones, for me personally, now I won't be using Kita-Sun Black in Make a New Track now that I have Biko Pegasus, but Kita-Sun Black, everybody's going to MLB her and be like, man, she's not as good for making a new track, but I definitely want to use her because she's still a good card. Well, now you need to offset her with the 15%. And you can say the same thing about the other one, Yukino, with 5% for getting No Stopping Me. And so you come in here to look at our 15s. Now, we will be getting we'll look at a couple others here. But there is one big one. And this is also talking about the SR uncaps. Nishino Flower Power is one of the 15s. This one is one that can immediately give you value from the uncapped crystal if you're not pulling anytime soon. This is the same situation, waiting until Kita-san Black at a minimum. And well, actually, waiting for her, this is waiting until Make a New Track at a minimum, because you're not going to need that until Make a New Track. So you have her, and the one that I ended up getting a lot of copies of on Biko Pegasus banner that I was happy with, Shinko Windy, which is a speed card with 10% race bonus. The reason I probably won't be using Kita-san Black like at all is because I'll just use Shinko Windy alongside Biko Pegasus. Both have 10. And then I can use my 15% plus 1 borrow to really, I might even be able to get like 65 or 70 race bonus, depending on what I use. And so that's some of your options there. Now, when I add future ones, we will be getting a free Marvelous Sunday. It's an event card, I believe. And so right off the bat, everybody, at least if you play during it, will get a 15% race bonus with her. The one after, and this is why I'm saying you want to probably save your SR crystals if you already have MLB and Nishino Flower Power, and that is Admire Vega. If you save all the way up until her card, you'll need 1 copy of this, and you should have enough to MLB her immediately, and she has that 15% race bonus for Make a New Track. So that's talking about the SRs. I just kind of want to get over those really quickly. Those are kind of the main targets. I don't know if there's any future targets, but we will be getting enough of the SR ones to not be too concerned. These are kind of just the immediate targets you want to think about. Now, if you're hurting on cards or you're brand new, you may have some options, but we're not going to go in depth onto SRs because we do get those a little bit more often to me not to be as concerned. The SRs are the bigger ones. So I just kind of showed why you can probably skip these, at least until Make a New Track. Now, if you're a low spender, to me, 2% race bonus is not a difference maker. If you have 58 to 60% race bonus, you're basically 60. I would say it's not worth it to even 4 limit break these just for that 2% race bonus. You could think of it as like a 2%. This isn't going to be true to a certain extent, but you can think of it as like a 2% bonus to your stats to a certain extent. Not worth it when you can see the value of those limit break crystals or uncapped crystals. If you think 200 pulls is basically $400, that uncapped crystal is worth $400 of pulls, and that's all you're getting out of it. What you want to save them for, in my opinion, are future banners that you have bad luck in. Just imagine, we'll think about the Kita-san Black banner when it dropped. Just imagine that they gave us 2 uncapped crystals when the game launched. And you did your rerolls, and you get limit break 3 fine motion. I don't know, I just picked, you got super lucky in your rerolls, you got limit break 3 on fine motion. But you know Kita-san Black's coming up some point in the future, right? Are you going to want to MLB her right off the bat now, or are you going to save them for when Kita-san Black drops and then pull on Kita-san Black, dump a ton of pulls on her, and then you have stupidly bad luck. You get no copies. You have limit break 1 Kita-san Black after 400 pulls. Well, guess what? Those 2 uncapped crystals, if you save them, you can then take her to limit break 3, and now she's got some immediate value, and you can immediately start using her. That's going to be kind of the same situation I'm kind of saying of why you want to save them going into the future. And it's going to be the biggest ones that I'm thinking of are the new scenario banners, because they all tend to, I've looked at a lot of them, they all have very good cards on them. We'll just use the Light Hello one, where the actual launch of it, that was the rerun. Right here. Light Hello comes with the friend card and Agnes Tachyon Speed. Agnes Tachyon Speed being a pretty good speed card for your Pace Chasers, and I think a little bit late surge on it, but Pace Chaser is the bigger one of it. Very good card. Now, this is one that I probably wouldn't dump on because it's not like a meta. It's not a Kita-san Black replacement, but a very good one that if you continue to save until then, one copy of her, and you can just immediately, probably, I don't know if you'll be able to MLB, but maybe get close to it when she drops with the crystals. So now you have an immediate good pace chasing speed card and then you can dump your 200 pulls, and because you're going to want to get Light Hello, and we're going to get free pulls. I mean, that's the wrong one. We're going to get free pulls on that one, just like Rico. And you have that. And so looking at some of the cards that'll be coming up in the future on those, which I'll put a link to this in the description as well. I know a lot of people like to use this as kind of a reference to future strong cards. The bigger the square, the more value it has, is kind of just how it goes. It explains it here on the intro. And then it has text under what that value kind of is. Just looking at some of the future banners that this might be very good for, that are on PAL cards, at least that I know of off the top of my head. There may be other ones that are on here that I might not recognize immediately, but I know El Condor Pasa is going to be on a PAL card. That's Kita-san Black replacement. Has Professor of Curvature, plus I believe 1 or 2 other golds, plus better stat stick. Nishino Flower Power SSR card. Very good power card. One of the few. It's when power actually can get some value at some point on a new scenario banner. Ofefer Guts on a scenario. It's on a scenario. Why is she all the way down here? Someone must have actually dragged and dropped it here. But Ofefer's on one. I don't know. I think this one is as well. The Wit card. I could be wrong though. Then you have Almond Eye is on one. Now we're talking like 3 years out. But we get those SSR crystals we don't get them very often. So stockpiling as many as you can is going to be very useful. And that's why, like, I think I've seen someone say you'll get like one about every 3 month-ish if you do all the content that gives those little shards that you need 20 of. And so if you can save them, you can immediately, in a lot of cases, if you have very bad luck, still pull off MLBing some of these meta cards. And I just like to use, that's why I use Kita-san Black as kind of an example. Just because you just can imagine if you just were given 2 or 3 of them on launch, and instead of wasting them trying to get your Super Creek and Fine Motion good to go that you re-rolled for, you could have got your MLB Kita-san Black with very minimal pulls. So that's just some of my thoughts on those uncapped crystals. For some people, if you're not planning to play this game like for a long time, I mean, it can be very hard to want to save them. So I can understand that because, I mean, some of these cards I'm talking about, El Condor Pasa is 2 years out. A lot of these big ones are like 2 years out. Like, I think the closest one when I'm kind of thinking about using it is going to be the Light Hello, which is this the 4th scenario banner. And that one's just under a year out. And so, yeah, it can be definitely tough, but it's definitely, if you want to play this game long term, especially as a free to play, that's going to be the best value you're going to get under these uncapped crystals. And that's just kind of my argument for saving them to a certain extent. But yeah, just let me know in the comments what your plans are with them going into the future. And if you have any questions on your account or how you might want to use them, you can always come on our Discord and ask. I have plenty of people, myself included, who will kind of help people with making those decisions. Because there's a million different scenarios you can be in, which is why I was trying to be very broad and focus on like the main cards here. But there are a lot of other options depending on how your luck has been on SSR card banners. I mean, you have a lot to think about. Maybe you got on Rico, you got multiple copies of Sweep Toshu, and now she's Limit Break 2 for you, or some of these other ones. And so I can't cover all of those. And that's where you can kind of use my Discord, or you can even ask. I know a lot of the other content creators answer the same questions and can help out there as well. But that'll be it for now. And if you like my content, if you can like, comment, subscribe, it really helps. And thanks for watching.